Have you ever wondered if we've exhausted all there is to say about the Lord's Supper? Um, I'm sure that we can always find something that will help us understand it a little bit better. I recalled this week there was a movie, The Abyss, which was about this research team that's way down deep in the ocean, and they're there's something going on and they're trying to discover what. But anyway, there's this one point where the male actor and the female actor our lead in the movie have to get from one structure down deep over to the other. Now they have this interesting diving apparatus. It actually fills the suit with some kind of fluid that actually, once it gets into your lungs, you can breathe it. At the time, it seemed like total science fiction. I mean, that can't be possible, and yet they actually do something like that, where you can actually breathe while you're underwater, and you breathe the water. I'm sure there's a lot of science and complication to it, but anyway, they've only got one suit, and yet the structure is failing, and they've got to get to another one, and it's going to take them long enough that only one of them, that anybody in another suit or another, any kind of apparatus would die on the way. And the female lead convinces, the male lead, who is Ed Harris, I think I've got this right, that he's to put on the suit, and then takes her over. She dies on the way, and then he revives her. And so in this, one of them has to die in order for both of them to live. And that's exactly the way it is with Jesus in the whole world. He has to die in order for the whole world to live. And so it seems that we can never exhaust the idea of Jesus is dying for us. And it reminds us too then that we're here because he said, "This is my body, which is given for you." His body was the perfect sacrifice. And that reminds us of all of the animal sacrifices we've read about in the Old Testament. They're now no longer necessary, but they were necessary in order to teach us the fact that something had to die in order for us to be forgiven, or at least those who were in the system. We weren't in the system, but the Jews were, and they learned that lesson. And some of them were able to transfer it then to Jesus and make that leap that he was the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world. And then, of course, his blood was shed in order to give us a new covenant. And with that new covenant and the pouring out of his blood, there is redemption and the forgiveness of sins. And yet, as we think about that, even though we might not ever find anything new or different to say about that, you don't really need to say anything new or different, because week after week we're reminded of the faithfulness of Jesus in coming to this earth and dying on our behalf, shedding his blood so that we might be set free. And even if we could have all of the world's illustrations and all of the world's best words, we still would not be able to say thank you. We still would not be able to explain the depth of what he has done for us. And so the best we can do is to be faithful week after week in taking it and living each day knowing that Jesus made it possible for our new life. So I hope that you'll examine yourself, and as you take this bread, examine yourself as you drink the cup, and remember what he did for you. And it doesn't matter whether you have the words to explain, the words to thank, the words to feel. Just be grateful, and every day live for him. The This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. Take and drink the cup, which is given for you as a new covenant in my blood. Do this in remembrance of me. That's Bob's paraphrase, you understand. So just take it and be grateful throughout this week.